Hey Husker fans, Husker Nation, how's it going? Coming to you here with the post-game reaction to Northern Iowa, um, and this is actually take two. I don't usually do this. I don't plan to do this in the future. Usually, what you see with this channel for those, and as this grows, and what people are gonna get is I just give you what I think. I'm not gonna go back and edit. I'm gonna talk. I try to keep it 10 minutes or less. I'm gonna talk to you guys. I'm gonna tell you what I think, and that's gonna be it. I mean, people will agree, some people won't agree. People will agree, some people won't agree. Um, we have overly optimistic Husker fans. We have overly pessimistic Husker fans. Um, so I'm not going to always be able to please everybody, but my goal is I don't edit this stuff. I just talk to you about what I see, what I feel, and I put it. Now, with that being said, I recorded something last night, as I do, right? Post game, I put up my article, chronicles.com. You can find it there. You can find my post game article on the redwhitecornsports.com. I think the article I wrote breaking down the game and just discussing it as a whole was very good. I think it's balanced between praise and criticism. I think it's a great article. Go check it out. redwhitecornsports.com. Find it on the chronicles.com as well. Great article. Now, last night, though, I recorded after that. And it was late, it was late. I don't know. The recording I made, because I'm probably because I try to keep these to 10 minutes or less, I think when I look back at it was just overly negative. Overly negative. I didn't really talk about any of the good stuff. And, I tried to upload it. And for whatever reason, the software I used to record this and upload my stuff to YouTube kept giving me an error message, even after I restored my computer, which is the extent of my IT knowledge. So I just gave up. This morning I woke up, I rethought about some things, and there's a lot of criticism I can give, and I will share some of that here that I think is valid, but at the end of the day, I think I just ran out of time. I didn't do a good job balancing in that first take the good stuff we did. And at the end of the day, we covered the spread. We won 31-3. We didn't allow them in our end zone. Their only points came on their first drive. And so, while there's stuff to work on, there's plenty to be optimistic about, too. So, I'm sharing this video now. I think it's going to be a more balanced take. Again, I'm not going to edit. Whatever I say now is what's going to get uploaded, and whatever I say now is basically what's going to come from here, guys. Because that's the way I like to do this thing for you guys, Husker Nation. All right, so if you haven't, before we get into talking about the offense, the defense, and the special teams from last night, smash that like button. Hit subscribe for me. Keeps you up to date on the latest content. Not only helps me grow as a page, because the more you press like, the more you press subscribe, that helps the YouTube algorithm show this to more people, because it says, hey, people are interested in this. So do that for me. All right, jumping right in. Let's just get the negative part out up front, right? And that way we finish on a good note. If I had to say negatives from last night, I'm going to go with, I think, and where people get negative with last night, where you get the negative criticism that people are seeing online, is with the defense. Now, the defense didn't do horrible. They didn't. They gave up only 3 points. One field goal, and that was on their Northern Iowa's first drive, which means the rest of that whole game, they locked in, they cleaned it up, and they never scored again. Well, I think the issue people saw with Northern Iowa is two things. Number one, it's just the time of possession. We couldn't get them off the field. They held the ball that game 38 minutes. We held the ball 21. Okay, so time of possession tells that story. That's all we're stuck watching on the television or in the stands is them having the ball the whole time and our defense not being able to just give them a 3 and out. That's where some of that comes in. I think a lot of the criticism, too, just comes from that first drive, where their only drive they got points, was a 16-play, 10-minute drive. It took up, the whole first quarter. It was hard to watch, because every time you thought we got them, they turn around and get it on third down. There was a time we had them to fourth down, and they keep it on an option read on the quarterback, which, if you guys checked out my video preview in this game or my article preview in this game, I said their quarterback will keep it on an option run. And it looks like we just didn't expect them to do that. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. Maybe we just were gambling. I don't know. I'm not Tony White. I'm not trying to criticize his play calling. I couldn't do what he does. It's just we know he has a tendency to do that, and it looked wide open for him to just keep it. Either way, that's the only points they got. But that's where the criticism comes from, because it's not just the final score. You can say 34-3. You could say they never scored again, but you have to also if you just judge the score, then don't watch the game. Don't watch it. Just look at the final score and determine if the team is good or bad. No. You got to look at it, and what you see, you can trust some of the things you see. You saw our defense get pushed around by an FCS team. You did, at times. Matt Rule said it himself, going into the locker room at overtime. He said, they are the more physical team right now, and he didn't look happy. And it's the truth. I mean, they had a penalty called on them for an ineligible person upfield, and it's because the offensive line can't go more than 3 yards off the line of scrimmage, and they had literally pushed our defensive line 3 to 5, maybe 7 yards up the field. The whole line was moved. And so when you see that, when you see all the times our black shirt defense would get to the running back at the line of scrimmage or behind it, and they would break tackles and still gain 5-7 yards a carry, yeah, people are concerned, and rightfully so, about that because they look like the more physical team. Why? Now, it's an FCS team, and I'm not trying to talk crap on that program. I think it's a ranked FCS team. They're going to be a good team. But why in Big Ten is supposed to be we talk about Big Ten being the most physical league of all. Why is our defense now struggling? Because we haven't played a team like this. Keep in mind, UTEP and Colorado, all they wanted to do was throw it. They had no interest in running the ball. Now that we face a team that wants to run the ball down our throats, yeah, we held them to 3, which is good. But given the lower tier opponent, you got to weigh it with what you saw, which was us at times struggling to be more physical. So that's why people were concerned. You got Big Ten play coming up. That's got to get fixed. Matt Rule and Tony White, they're going to get that taken care of. And we'll be fine, guys. I hope. But I think we'll be fine. All right, real quick. Let's talk offense. First half, amazing. Dylan Raiola, dynamic. Matt Rule said in his post-game press conference they wanted to throw it more this game. You guys saw that. You're wondering, why are we throwing it so much? That's why. He says it's a perfect game to kind of open it up and let Raiola throw it around a bit. And it's true. And we're going to get more to that in just a second. He went 13 for 16, 209 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the first half. No turnovers. Failed to convert that 4th and 3 before the half. That was a little disappointing. A little bit on the way the ball was placed. A little bit on Jacory and Barney's not catching the ball, but it is what it is. He ended the day 17 for 23, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he threw the interception to Jalen Lloyd. I don't know what's going on with that interception to Jalen Lloyd. A little bit of an underthrown ball, but also Jalen Lloyd would look like on at least the TV part I remember seeing, like he was locked hip and hip with that defender the whole route, and I don't quite understand why one of our fastest guys is being locked down by a DB from Northern Iowa. But then again, there's a lot of wide open passes we made today too. So who knows, right? I don't know. Overall, the offense did great. The running back by committee continued, but Dow looks like our clear every down back. He had 6 carries only for 55 yards. Evan Johnson had 4 for 50, but you got to keep in mind, almost all of his rushing yards came on that last touchdown run, which was like 34 or 36 yards. I think the committee just stop it. Just stop the committee. It's the Dante Dowdell show, and you have Emmett Johnson in there to spell him. Maybe Ramir Johnson in there to spell him here and there. But it should be Dowdell. Going forward, conference play starts, Dowdell's your running back, period, in my opinion. Great to see Jacory, Barney Jr. and Carter Nelson both get their first career touchdowns as true freshmen. Great to see Heinrich Harburg in there for all different types of packages, tight end, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, and for option runs. And Matt Rule said it in his post-game press conference. He said, hey, he doesn't care if that's successful. If he puts Harburg in there and they run an option, it doesn't blow up and doesn't do it. He said he just does it because it forces the opposing team to have to prepare for it because they see it and now we could bring them out against them. And so he said, if I take up 20 minutes of their day every day on wrinkles I throw in for them to prepare for, then that takes 20 minutes away from them preparing for everything else we're going to do. It's brilliant. And that's also why I think, the game plan is interesting. We threw it a lot more. We ran it less. If you look back to UTEP was kind of a mix. Colorado, we ran it more. We had a lot more gadget-type plays and trick plays in here this time. So if you're Illinois on a short week coming to Nebraska, it's tricky for you to prepare and know what you're preparing for and what to stop. So I think brilliant chess being played by Marcus Satterfield and Matt Rule on the offense. He said by design they go slower in the second half when they jump out to these big leads because trying to do too much in the past games has been what has cost them close games, right? So trying to do too much costs him games. He wants to be boring down the stretch and just win the game. And yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. I think we could have done more in the third quarter, maybe. But hey, we scored 2 field goals, two by Tristan Alvano, who made both his field goal attempts. So, and in the fourth quarter, obviously, we had the touchdown play. So, last thing, guys, I know I'm a little over time here. A lot to talk about with this game. We had a long opening statement. Special teams, I'll cover this in about a minute. Look, Tristan Alvano made all his extra points. John Hall also made an extra point. Alvano made 2 field goals. I missed this in my article. Just typing too fast. I put that he only made 1 field goal in the second half. He had 2 in the third quarter, right? Or it might have been 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Either way, he had 2 in the second half. I think one was like a 26, one was a 34-yarder. So, good. That gives you confidence going into conference play. We've made 2 field goals. Shorter ones, yes, but we made them, all right? We had the one roughing the punter penalty on us. Look, I don't. When you watch the replay, I don't know what that defender could have done. He was running full steam. The punter kicked it. He put his hands up. He tried to slow him down. There was like a step and a half between them, and he ran into him. Why that's a personal foul? Not even just running into the kicker. Why they throw roughing the punter on there to me is wild. Because what do you want him to do? He didn't make any forcible contact at all. He wasn't trying to take the punter down. It's just one of those things. So I can't fault that. We didn't punt the whole night, so huge positive there. Boom Cheney saw no action. And then for punt returns, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda only had 1 punt return for 2-yard return. So pedestrian compared to the last 2 games. But the game just felt different. I mean, Northern Iowa controlled it. We're wrapping it up now, guys. Northern Iowa just controlled that game. At the line of scrimmage sometimes. That's where a lot of frustration comes out. That time of possession is skewed because we scored fast. That's true. But it's also skewed because we couldn't get them off the field at times either. So there's a balance there. We have to be optimistic with what we saw. We have to be optimistic and say, hey, there's plenty of programs this year that have struggled with SCS teams and are still doing great. Look at Oregon with Idaho, but then Oregon dominating Oregon State. Look at Notre Dame losing to NIU, but then Notre Dame dominating Purdue. So that doesn't mean the season's over because our defense didn't play the best it could have done. The defense did great. Held them to 3 points. The biggest concern I have, personally, this is just me speaking, I'd say, hey, at times we didn't look like the more physical team out there. We got to get that fixed. We have to be the more physical team on the field at all times. That should never be a question. Besides that, no real complaints. Offense looks good. Special teams looks good. Defense bent, but it never broke. Again, the defense bent, guys, but it never broke. It never broke. So, it's going to be a short week. It's going to be a good week. Illinois under the lights Friday night should be both ranked. And that's the true test. So if you have question marks right now, that's fine, and that's okay. Hold on to them. The true test and all those questions are going to be answered. First game of conference play against a ranked Big Ten opponent. Friday night, we win that. Then everyone should be feeling good. All right, the feel good should be back in Lincoln. But again, I'm not faulting anybody for having some negative thoughts or feelings after that game yesterday. I did have some. I caution everyone, try not to be overly pessimistic, try not to be overly optimistic, try to find balance, okay? It's okay to call out the things you see, and it's okay to say the good things that happened. It's okay to do that. You don't have to be one or the other, okay? Just find your balance. And I'm talking to myself a little bit there too, guys. So, again, please, if you haven't, you stuck around this long, subscribe and like. Helps me out a lot. Again, find my article, guys. Great article in my opinion. Try to be humble here, but I think I wrote a pretty good article. Okay, it's a good article, guys. Please help me out. Give it a read. RedWhiteCornSports.com. Also find it on the CaracleChronicles.com. See you guys later this week for Headline Tuesday, and go Big Red.